Welcome to AI Podcasts. I'm Alex, and today we're unpacking an ACL 2025 industry track paper titled PlanGPT, Enhancing Urban Planning with a Tailored Agent Framework by Guanhua, Chen, and Wenjia Zhang. In short, it's a domain-specific AI agent for urban and spatial planning that pairs a specialized retriever with a fine-tuned local language model and an orchestrating agent. The authors report stronger performance on core planning tasks than general-purpose models evaluated under similar settings, with an emphasis on privacy-friendly on-prem deployment.
Hi, I'm Maya. That's a clear headline. If I'm a city planner, why should I care? What's broken with the status quo?
Planners deal with long, regulation-heavy documents, dense jargon, and high-stakes compliance. General models often miss crucial clauses, struggle with formal government style, and can be hard to deploy under strict data security rules. The paper argues those pain points are persistent, so they built something tuned to how planning work actually happens.
Makes sense. Before we get into their solution, who wrote the paper and where did it appear?
It's by Guanhua, Chen, and Wenjia Zhang, published in the ACL 2025 industry track in Vienna. That's the conference's practitioner-oriented track, focused on real deployments.
Great. So what had the field already tried? Retrieval augmented generation, tool use, agents. Those sound familiar.
Right. There's plenty of RAG and agent frameworks. They reduce hallucinations by pulling in documents and calling tools, but off-the-shelf retrievers don't speak planning dialect very well, and generic agents don't know which specialist tools planners actually use. So prior systems helped, but they weren't optimized for planning language, government-style writing, or the security posture agencies need.
Got it. So they specialized all three parts: retrieval, the model, and the agent. Walk me through what they built.
Think of it as three layers. First, retrieval. They use a planning-aware embedding and a hierarchical search that mixes keyword extraction, semantic recall, and re-ranking, so the system can find the right snippets inside sprawling, noisy regulations. Second, the model, a locally deployable language model fine-tuned on planning instruction data so it writes and evaluates in the tone and structure planners expect. Third, the agent. It breaks tasks into steps, calls domain tools when needed, and consolidates everything into a single reviewed answer.
So it's not just answering a question, it's planning a mini workflow and checking sources. What kind of tasks did they test?
4 everyday ones: drafting planning text, adjusting style to match government norms, extracting structured facts from documents, and evaluating the quality of a write-up. They also included multiple-choice knowledge checks using planning exam questions. Baselines covered well-known open models and, where appropriate, popular commercial systems.
And how did PlanGPT do without burying us in numbers?
In their offline evaluations, human judges preferred PlanGPT's outputs for writing and style tasks, and it was competitive on domain knowledge questions. They also ran ablations on the retriever. Both the domain embedding and the hierarchical search contributed to accuracy. In other words, the gains weren't just from fine-tuning the generator. Retrieval engineering mattered.
That rings true. If you don't fetch the right paragraph from a long ordinance, the answer can sound confident but be wrong. Did they show the agent actually doing multi-step work?
Yes, they described cases where the agent creates a to-do list for document review, searches for the relevant clauses across regulations, calls specialist tools, and then synthesizes a professional-style response. The aim isn't flash, it's dependable, auditable support.
I'm curious about deployment. Some agencies are strict about what runs where.
The system is designed for local or on-prem deployment and assumes tight data security constraints. That's why they emphasize a local model plus retrieval over internal corpora, rather than a purely cloud-hosted setup.
Okay, let me put on a skeptic hat for a second. How confident should we be in the findings?
Fair question. Several human-rated test sets are relatively small, so we should be cautious about generalizing effect sizes. Human evaluation is subjective and benefits from clear guidelines and reliability reporting. Much of the data is in the context of Chinese regulations. The architecture should transfer, but performance in other legal regimes needs evidence, and baselines evolve quickly, so comparisons should be refreshed over time.
So promising, but we'd like broader, more diverse testing and updated comparisons. What do they see as next steps?
They point to three directions. First, larger and cleaner instruction data for the domain model. Second, multimodality, maps, tables, diagrams. And in follow-on work, they explore a vision language direction for planning maps. Third, deeper integration with professional toolchains like GIS and transit analysis so the agent can reason across text and spatial layers.
That's where planning lives. Text plus maps plus numbers. Before we wrap, could you give a concise takeaway for a director with 10 seconds between meetings?
PlanGPT is a specialized planning assistant. It retrieves the right clauses from messy regulations, writes and evaluates in the style planners expect, and orchestrates domain tools. In the author's tests, it outperforms general models on core planning tasks and is designed to run locally for privacy. If your team spends hours combing through ordinances and drafting formal text, this is the kind of stack to pilot.
Nice. If a city wants to experiment responsibly, what's a good first step?
Start with a narrow, auditable use case like harmonizing memo style or extracting structured fields from a known regulation. Keep a human in the loop, log every cited clause the agent pulled, and measure time saved and error rates. If that goes well, scale retrieval to a larger corpus and add a limited set of domain tools, then expand carefully.
Measured steps. I like it. And of course, get legal and data security teams involved from day one.
Absolutely. Be domain-specific, careful with data, and make the system serve the workflow, not the other way around. That's our rundown of PlanGPT by Zhu, Guanhua Chen, and Wenjia Zhang from the ACL 2025 Industry Track.
Thanks for listening. This was AI Podcast. Until next time.